There is a myth that we are all silently subscribing to. It is the myth of the pristine. Imagine walking into a museum. You see a glass case, lit by soft, expensive halogen lights. Inside sits a porcelain vase. It is white. It is flawless. It is perfectly symmetrical. There is not a single scratch, not a single chip, not a single error in its geometry. We look at that vase and we think, this is the value. That is perfection. Then we look at ourselves, and we do not see smooth, white porcelain. We see cracks. We see the jagged edges of a failed relationship. We see the dusty residue of a career path that didn't work out. We see the ugly, sharp fragments of trauma that we carry around in our pockets, hoping no one notices the bulge. We live in a culture that treats human beings like factory-new products. If you are dented, you are discounted. If you are broken, you are discarded. So we spend our entire lives trying to glue ourselves back together with invisible tape. We hide the cracks, we polish the surface, we pretend that we have never been dropped. But I want to ask you a question. What if the crack is not a defect? What if the break is actually the only way the light gets in? What if you are valuable because you broke, not in spite of it? Let us look at the diagnosis of our modern condition. Most of us are walking around with a profound sense of shame. Shame is not the same as guilt. Guilt says, I did something bad. Shame says, I am bad. And this shame manifests in three distinct, exhausting ways in your daily life. First, it appears in how you curate your existence. Think about the last time you met someone new. Maybe it was a date, maybe a job interview. You presented a resume, either on paper or in conversation. What was on that resume? The victories, the awards, the shiny moments. You carefully edited out the year you spent depressed on your parents' couch. You deleted the failed business venture that cost you your savings. You scrubbed the timeline. You presented a false, porcelain version of yourself because you were terrified that if they saw the cracks, they would stop looking. Second, it manifests in your isolation. When we are hurting, our instinct is to withdraw. Like a wounded animal finding a dark cave, we pull away from our friends and family. We stop answering texts. We say, I'm just busy. Pointo. We do this because we believe that our struggle is a burden to others. We think that to be loved, we must be low maintenance. We must be smooth. Third, and perhaps most painful, is the late night interrogation. It is 2 a.m. The house is quiet. The only light is the street lamp outside your window, casting long, strange shadows on your ceiling. And your brain begins the replay. It loops your mistakes. It highlights your awkwardness. It reminds you of that thing you said 5 years ago. This is your brain trying to solve a problem it cannot solve. It is trying to figure out how to be perfect in a world that is chaotic. There is an evolutionary reason for this heaviness. For our ancestors, social standing was life or death. If you were the broken one in the tribe, the one who couldn't hunt, the one who was sick, the one who caused trouble, you were a liability. You might be left behind. Your brain is wired to hide weakness because for 1,000,000 years, weakness meant death. But you are not in the Paleolithic era. You are in the modern world. And in the modern world, this instinct to hide your flaws is not saving you. It is suffocating you. There is a different way to view the shattered pieces of your life. To understand it, we must travel back in time, to the late 15th century, to Japan. There was a shogun named Ashikaga Yoshimasa. He was a powerful military leader, but also a man of great aesthetic taste. He had a favorite tea bowl. It was a simple ceramic vessel, but he loved it. One day, inevitably, the bowl fell. It hit the hard floor and shattered into pieces. Yoshimasa was devastated. He gathered the shards and sent them back to China, where the bowl was originally made, asking them to repair it. Months later, the bowl returned. The repair was functional, but it was ugly. The Chinese craftsman had used large, hideous metal staples to hold the pieces together. It looked like Frankenstein's monster. It held water, but it had lost its soul. It looked fixed, but it still looked broken. The shogun was not satisfied. he turned to his own Japanese craftsmen. He asked them to find a better way. These craftsmen looked at the jagged shards. They looked at the violence of the break. And they made a radical decision. They decided not to hide the damage. They decided to honor it. They mixed lacquer, a strong natural adhesive, with powdered gold. Slowly, patiently, they glued the pieces back together. But instead of trying to make the seams invisible, they made them shine. Where there was a crack, there was now a vein of pure gold running through the dark ceramic. When the bowl was presented back to the shogun, it was no longer just a tea bowl. It was a masterpiece. It was more beautiful than it had been when it was new. The gold veins told a story. They said, "This object has traveled, it has suffered, it has broken, and it has survived." This art form became known as Kintsugi, golden joinery. Consider the philosophy here. In the West, when we break something, we throw it away. We replaced it. We want the new model. In Kintsugi, the object is not defined by its pristine state. It is defined by its resilience. The breakage is an opportunity to add gold. Now look at your own life through this lens. The divorce you went through? That is not a badge of shame. That is a crack where you can apply the gold of wisdom and self-reliance. The business you failed? That is not a mark of incompetence. That is the deep fissure where you pour the gold of experience. The depression you fought? That is the darkest crack of all. But healing from it creates a vein of empathy that allows you to connect with other human beings in a way that a perfect person never could. A person who has never been broken is naive. They are fragile. Like the porcelain vase in the museum, they are terrified of the slightest bump. But a person who has broken and rebuilt themselves, they are anti-fragile. They are complex. They are interesting. So how do we apply the gold? How do we stop hiding? I want you to lay just one brick today. The action is simple, but it will feel dangerous. I want you to practice selective vulnerability. You don't need to post your deepest trauma on social media for millions to see. That is not kintsugi. That is just noise. Instead, I want you to identify one scar you have been hiding. Maybe it is a mistake you made at work. Maybe it is a fear you have about the future. Take that scar and share it with one trusted person. Just one. The next time someone asks, "How are you?" do not give the automatic, "I'm fine" response. And say, "Actually, I'm struggling with something right now." Watch what happens in that moment. Your brain will tell you that they will judge you. Your brain screams that they will see you as weak. But almost every time, you will see their shoulders drop. You will see their eyes soften. Because by showing your crack, you have given them permission to show theirs. You have created a connection. You have applied the gold lacquer between two human beings. It is a small step, but it is the beginning of owning your story. We are all broken bowls. Life is a hard floor. Gravity is undeniable. You will fall. You will shatter. Do not try to sweep the pieces under the rug. Do not try to glue yourself back together with the invisible tape of denial. Pick up the pieces and wear your scars like the crown they are, because the cracks are where the story is.